Today the story I'm going to tell you guys is about the parable of the workers in the vineyard. You can find this story in Matthew 21 to 16. One day Jesus was teaching his disciple about the kingdom of heaven. The disciple wanted to know how God would reward them for following Jesus. So Jesus told them a parable about the parable of the workers in the vineyard. There is a man who owned a vineyard where grapes had grown. The vineyard owner needed workers to help him with his harvest. Early in the morning, the owner went to the busy market and found some people who wanted to work for him. He promised to pay them fairly, 1 denarius for 1 day of work. So the people went to his vineyard and started working. Later in the morning, the vineyard owner returned and saw more people standing around doing nothing. He asked them to come and work in his vineyard for a day, and promised to pay them what was right. Later that day afternoon, around noon, the owner went back to the market and got more people to come in his vineyard. Then again, in the afternoon, he returned to the market and found more people, workers. Finally, a little before the sun went down, the vineyard owner returned to the market one last time and found more people looking for it. So he asked them, "Why have you been standing around all day doing nothing?" "Because no one has hired us," they answered. Even though the workday was almost over, he invited them to work for him and be paid. When the day was finished, the owner gathered all the workers to pay them. He began by paying the workers he hired last. He handed them 1 denarius. Then he paid the workers he hired in the middle of the day. He gave them 1 denarius. Finally, he paid the workers he had early in the morning, and he gave them 1 denarius. Finally, he paid the workers. The workers who were hired earliest began to complain, saying, "We worked all day and get the same amount as the people who worked for only an hour." Then the owner said, "I am not being unfair. Didn't you agree for the usual work pay? I wanted to give the one I had last the same pay I gave you." Here are some 12 points about this story. God wants to reward everyone for accepting his invitations, not because how much work they could do for them. So Jesus says, first will be last and last should be first. Jesus reminded his disciples that everyone is valuable in God's kingdom, even the people who may think they have the least to offer. The meaning of the story is God's kingdom is like the vineyard owner and his workers. Sometimes you may think others don't deserve to be invited to be God's family. We might even wonder if we should be invited to be God's family. But Jesus said no. Jesus said that everyone is invited to be part of his family. That means Jesus invites all of us to be part of God's kingdom, no matter who we are, or what we've done, or even what we'll do. Thank you for listening.